Please rise. Municipal Court for the City of Stoughton is now in session. The Honorable Matthew T. Rothy presiding.
Okay, please be seated. Silence all cell phones, remove hats. I'll call the court to order at this time. My name is Matt Rothy. I'm the Stoughton Municipal Judge. Covers the cities of Stoughton, towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland. I'm just going to go through some of the procedures that I found in the courtroom. These procedures should have been available to you in the pamphlet on the podium as you entered. This is initial appearance night. You've been cited for a citation. What I'm looking for is a plea, and your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. We'll call your case on a first-come, first-served basis, and then I'll explain the nature of the citation and the range of forfeitures, etc. And then I'll ask you for a plea. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, I'll review your citation, and if there's a factual basis in the police report, find you guilty and impose an appropriate forfeiture. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but conviction arising from no contest plea cannot be used against you in a subsequent hearing. Let me explain that. So, say if you're involved in a traffic accident, you receive a citation. If you enter a no contest plea of the citation, that person can't use that no contest plea against you if they sue you later. If you're in doubt between a guilty or no contest plea, basically, I would always suggest a no contest plea. A guilty plea means you're admitting guilt. No contest plea means that you don't want necessarily admitting guilt, but you want it to be ended tonight. And the third option is a not guilty plea. A not guilty plea, if we enter a not guilty plea, we'll set your case over to the next court session for a pretrial conference on October 4th, at which time you and the city attorney will have a phone call to see if you can resolve the citation. If it can be resolved, the results are reported to me, and I'll usually approve it. If you can't resolve it, it comes back to me for a trial. The forfeiture ranges from $20 to $1,000. However, almost all are within the $50 to $200 range. The state mandates we add cost to your forfeiture. For example, a $50 forfeiture will result in a total cost to you of $124. I'll grant you 30 days to pay the fine. If you need additional time, please let me know, because we can work out a payment plan, because otherwise I have limited options to collect. I can suspend your driver's license, I can intercept your taxes, etc. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather just work out a payment plan. Those of you facing traffic offenses should understand you cannot accumulate 12 or more points in a year. If you do, you'll be suspended. You'll also be fined. When I mean suspended, you lose your driver's license to drive in Wisconsin for a period of time. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before entering a plea. You have a right to ask for continuance. This means that you can be asked that the case be set over to another time, either to consult with a lawyer for some other reason. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. Those of you cited with operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated are entitled to request a jury trial to the circuit court upon the proper payment of fees. If you are facing operating a motor vehicle, you can only apply for a jury trial in the next 10 days. Otherwise, you will only get a court trial in front of a judge here at Stoughton Municipal Court and then a court trial at Dane County Circuit Court. All other cases will be handled in this court with a right to appeal my ruling to the Circuit Court. That concludes my opening remarks. At this time, I will call the first case. It is Greg Rodney Spangler. Yeah, sure. At the podium. Officer will help you.
Awesome, thanks.
Mr. Spangler, do I have your correct address on Pleasant View Drive in Stoughton?
Correct.
All right. You've been cited for failure to keep vehicle under control. That citation carries a penalty of 4 demerit points and $136.60. Do you understand the elements of failure to keep a vehicle under control?
Yes.
Okay. You don't need me to read the statute or review those elements with you? Okay. You're shaking your head no. When I ask questions, make sure that you answer, because we're being recorded, and
okay.
The recording. If I make a mistake, you want to be able to appeal me, and you want to make sure you establish a record to do that.
Okay.
So that forfeiture is $136.60. That's $60 fine plus costs. Now the forfeiture range on this citation is 346.57 sub 2. It's $40 to $300. So you're not at the minimum, but you're low end of the scale. In other words, I can go down to $40 when I'm considering your fine, or I can go up to $300 as well. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. Any procedural questions for me?
No.
All right, now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand with no contest plea, if there's a factual basis of police report, I will find you guilty? Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Just a second.
I have the same thing you have.
So, Mr. Spangler, I do not have a copy of the police report here in front of me, so certainly, if you've got it, I can take a look and review it.
I have new people working in dispatch, and I don't go through every single one.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Cool. I will note that the defendants and, are you his wife? Or a significant other?
Yes.
Significant other brought an accident report. I reviewed the accident report. Based upon the accident report, I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea, and then find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
It was an accident. I mean, I had a brand new moped. I got a receipt for 2 days on it.
Okay.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it looks like you hit the curb?
Correct.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that was straight through,
Oh, yeah.
and now it's curved now.
Right, right.
made a
On Division
mistake.
Ford. So, but there's no other vehicles for there, so I can't amend the citation or anything, but what I can do, because it was just a curb, because it was a one-car accident, because you appeared tonight, I can reduce it to the minimum forfeiture of $40. So,
Sounds fair.
all right. So I will reduce it to $40. That's $111.40. Do you need time to pay that?
No.
I'll grant you 30 days anyway, and I'll give you the receipt for that in just a minute. So
Okay.
make sure that you can take that down to the dispatch window. I'll give you the revised forfeiture here.
Okay. It'll still be 4 points?
Yep, still be 4 points.
Okay.
I can't amend it any further than that. I mean, if you want to, you could always talk to the prosecutor and try and get it amended further, but I can't reduce the 4 points then.
That's fair enough.
So, okay. All right, while we're waiting, is that why you're wearing a neck brace then? I mean,
He's got a broken neck.
okay.
Yeah.
12 other bones.
Was that was a result of this accident?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, I hope you're just
No
be
more
careful with that.
mopeds for me.
Yeah, okay. That could be the lesson of tonight then. so.
This is a very good one.
All right. Once you receive a copy of this disposition, that will take care of it this evening then. Thank you for
Do I
coming.
pay that tonight, or?
You can, I'll give you 30 days, but if you
Okay.
want to, you can always pay at a dispatch window downstairs.
Okay,
Okay, all right. Thank you.
thanks.
That'll,
Nope, there's one more.
oh. Are you next?
There's another ticket on there too. Unless that got,
It didn't come to court.
What's your, is it for,
Should
what's
be.
the other citation for?
having alcohol on his breath, but it was only .03. And they said we had to go to court because.
Same defendant, Mr. Spangler?
Correct.
That's all I have on the docket tonight.
Didn't come to us at all.
Well, it says we're supposed to be here tonight.
Oh, I mean, I'll take a look at that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
I don't know.
Because I talked to the officer, and he said, since the blood alcohol was so low, he gave the ticket before the blood alcohol was done in the hospital, and he said he couldn't do anything about it, we had to go to court. So I'm assuming that the court got the paperwork also for the blood alcohol?
We don't have this, so since it wasn't processed right now, then, since this wasn't processed right now, it's not in my docket then, so.
So what do I do? I mean, I don't want to have a warrant out for my
No,
arrest.
no, it says appearance, but I don't have it. So what I will do then, if we receive another court date for you, if say the if we receive a citation, we'll notify you by mail, and then I'll just follow it up. There's no warrant, there won't be anything regarding this
Okay.
other citation.
Because they sent us a copy
Okay.
of the blood alcohol, so I'm not sure if it got,
Squashed? Maybe it got thrown out? I don't know.
It hasn't been sent to this court, I
So-
don't have a copy, it hasn't been sent to this court.
So when it gets to you, then it comes to me. Is that how it works?
So you're supposed to be served with a citation. So what I'm gonna do is that I don't have this, and I'll make a note of it that you appeared, but
Okay.
that we don't have a record of the citation then. So, because we'll make a note of that record, if there is a pending case, we'll make sure that you get served again and we can have another court date at that time.
Okay.
But right now, I don't have any record of that other citation.
I got neck surgery coming up October 20th. What happens if the next date happens to be on October 20th?
What I would suggest then is if you're having neck surgery and there's a court date, if it's in this court, I allow not guilty pleas by mail. You can just drop off a not guilty plea and then online too, so.
Okay, very good.
So, okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Yep.
so you just pay this right now?
Okay. Brianna Johnson?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Johnson, do I have your correct address on Lincoln Avenue here in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You received 3 citations. One is for speeding on a city highway, 16 to 19 miles over limit. That citation carries a penalty of 4 points and $124. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes.
Okay, and it's 16 to 19 over, which is 4 points and $124 forfeiture. That is $50 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So you're not, what's that?
I actually paid that ticket off already, sir.
She did, okay. So you already paid that off. Forfeited the bond for that. I usually give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway.
Okay.
So instead of, we'll discuss the other 2 citations first, but instead of 16 over, I could reduce that to 9 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. The other is, okay, the second citation was called operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicant. This
Yes,
is
Your Honor.
commonly known as drunk driving or OWI. This citation carries a penalty of $861. Now, it's a forfeiture range of $150 to $300. However, we have a $355 assessment is added to that. So the effective forfeiture range is usually between $700 and $1,000. So you're kind of in the middle of the forfeiture range. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. In addition to that, it's 6 points issued your driver's license. If you're found guilty, you have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class. And before I forget, let me remind you that this is one that within 10 days, if you post the fees, you can take this right up to Dane County and ask for a jury trial. If you don't do that, then you have me as a bench trial here. And then if you don't like my ruling, you can appeal that to the Dane County Circuit Court. But you're limited to a bench trial. You can't have a jury trial. You have to post a jury trial right away. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I talked about the fine, 6 points, alcohol and drug assessment. In addition, for this, your driver's license, if you're found guilty, your driver's license gets revoked between 6 and 9 months. And the way I do this is my forfeiture range is that if you're a 1.5 or lower, it's 6. If you're a 1.5 to 0.2, it's 7. And if it's 0.2 or above, it's 8. And if there's any bad driving, I add a month. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right, so alcohol, drug, is this the first time you've ever been cited for operating OWI?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. In addition, if your blood alcohol content is a 1.5 or higher, then the state mandates that I add a $50 forfeiture to your cost, and that I order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. In addition to that 12-month period, you must also, any vehicles you drive also have an IID on, even if it's not on your name. And you understand that so far?
Yes,
You're
Your Honor.
nodding, so I assume that you've
I've
already
done
looked
my
this up.
research
Yes.
before coming in,
Okay,
sir.
Good, I'm glad. In addition to that IID, what happens with that is that if you're above that limit, you can't sit it out. You can't just say, oh, not drive for a year and say, okay, I'm free. You actually have to install that IID with the first, as the DOT says, product you receive. If it's an occupational license, you put the IID in. Then if you wait till your driver's license, regular driver's license, then you put it in. So you understand that as well?
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
You understand the elements of OWI?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, you don't need me to read the statute to you? Okay.
No.
So that's your first citation. The second citation is operating a motor vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Now that carries the same penalties. Let me make sure that they wrote it on your citation correctly. Okay, so $861. Understand that?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
The same, that's also 6 points. It's alcohol and drug assessment as well, and it's a 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation. And again, if you're 1.5 or higher, I order the interlock ignition device. Now, prohibited alcohol concentration, you're above a .08 is the legal rate for a first offense. What happens with the .08 versus the OWI, I can find you guilty of both, but I can only impose one set of penalties. So in other words, it's only 6 to 9 month revocation. It's only $861. I can't double it. It doesn't double to $1,700. Okay. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I've talked to you about the fine, the points, the alcohol and drug assessment, then the driver's license revocation, and that's a revocation. It's not a suspension. Revocations means that if you go out, that you're facing additional criminal penalties.
Correct.
I shouldn't say additional, you would be facing criminal penalties. And then I talked to you about the IID, the $50 surcharge, and the 1.5 or higher.
Yes, sir.
I threw a lot of information at you, but you've been nodding your head the whole time. Any procedural questions for me?
I actually called the DMV and did my research about an occupational, the SR22 and all that, and how to take the steps of getting that IID placed and which order I need to do that in.
Okay,
So
good.
I think I'm fairly okay.
Okay, we can give you we'll give you the forms for all those as well.
I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
I would, if you would give me a minute to speak on my own behalf, but
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
So what happens is that I have to take your plea first.
Okay,
And that
okay.
would be, the options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Okay.
And then I can explain those pleas to you if you want me to again.
I'm good on that, sir.
If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, what I do is I review the police report, and then if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty. And then after I found you guilty, then you can tell me what any mitigating circumstances or anything that you want to tell me. If you enter a not guilty plea, then what happens with the not guilty plea means that I don't want to hear your side of the story. Then I set up a pre-trial conference with the city attorney. And the reason why I don't want you commenting before the plea is that if you tell me facts and then enter a not guilty plea, I've been prejudiced, I know too much, I have to send this case to another court, which another judges wouldn't be too pleased with me if I did that on a regular basis.
Makes sense, Your Honor.
Okay, good. All right, any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I am pleading guilty, Your Honor.
You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea.
Okay,
And this might take a minute because these reports can be a little lengthy.
no problem.
Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for you to accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Now, anything you'd like to tell me?
So I do have a character reference if you wish to see that.
Sure.
Just to take a peek at it. And then on my own behalf, I would just like to tell the courts today that I came from a very long line of addicts and alcoholic. I've struggled for very many years with both of them. I have been on a journey for over a year trying sobriety, relapsing, and coming back to sobriety again. Though my addiction and I have, and what I've accomplished, being a first-generation college student, getting an amazing job I'm proud of that I have now, having almost 5 months of sobriety before my relapse, which has led me here. I fully understand my actions were wrong, and I'm willing to obey by any repercussions this evening of you giving me any repercussions. However, I've been doing a lot of self-work and self-reflection since the evening of August 23rd. I have been attending AA meetings regularly 3 times a week, doing sober events, working with multiple therapists, and a sponsor through AA. Again, I know that what I did was wrong. I am grateful that I did not harm myself, property, and most importantly, another human being. I was respectful to both officers at the time of my arrest, and I am honestly grateful for this event as it's put me back on the track of my sobriety and having that wake-up call. And of course you know this already, but I have took the initiative to pay off my speeding ticket right away, as I know I've done wrong. Other than that, I do have a couple questions in regard after my conviction, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
So in regards to my ID and the drug and alcohol counseling, is that all going to be outlined in the paperwork that I'm receiving of how
Correct.
long I need to do it? And also, am I able to continue to go to the AA meetings that I'm going to for that? Or is it something that I have to abide by through you guys?
So for your AA meetings, when you get an occupational license, I would put that the block, you're allowed 60 hours a week.
Correct.
So to get to work, and I would include the AA meetings as the times that you could drive, because
Okay.
I think that that will be legitimate. And I'll note, I'll note for the record that that can be part of your occupational license then, so.
Okay, and that was my other big thing, is having that. And then I do have 2 rare medical conditions, so could that also be outlined on my occupational?
That most of that, if you have medical issues, that would have to be outlined to the Department of Transportation. They handle the occupational licenses.
Okay,
So,
so the DMV then?
yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, let me read your character reference quickly. Okay. All right. Now, if we have Yep, yep. Let's get back. So I'm going to give you an assessment form.
Okay,
I'm going to give you back the character reference. Thank you for bringing that to me.
Okay.
And the assessment is, I'm going to have you sign both of them. I keep one and you keep one. There's a number that you have to call within 72 hours. You've already probably taken this, but what I would do is that, have you taken your drug and alcohol assessment yet?
I don't believe so.
Then you have not. Then disregard what I just told you. Call that number and schedule a time when you can call up the alcohol and drug assessment then.
Okay.
Because you're required to call within 72 hours of this hearing.
Okay. And where, which
Yeah.
one, right here?
And then how much revocation?
6.
Okay, I missed that.
No, I haven't ordered it yet, that's why.
Okay.
I have to make all my findings.
$50 then.
Yeah. I'll keep the fine the same, but the 6 months, and I'll explain that in my reasoning. Sorry, Mr. Bailiff, you're gonna get your steps in for this hearing. All right, because I'll sign one and I'll give it back to her. Actually, if she wants to, if you want to grab the other one, I'll keep that one. Okay, thank you. All right. Date. Oh, I don't know if I dated that. Do you want to bring that back? Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm worried about my findings. I want to make sure that and today I'm going to correct your date. It's actually 9/20. You put 8.
Oh, I put 08
Yeah.
instead of 09. My
Correct.
apologies.
Correct. It feels like August a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm going to make the following findings. So I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway for the speeding, so I'm going to reduce that to 1 to 10 over. Same forfeiture, 124, and I'll find that you forfeited the bond. All right, so there's, and then as far as the OWI, I'll make the finding that your blood alcohol content was a 1.9, but I'll also make the findings that there was no bad driving in this. And most prosecutors' offices, I've never had anybody attend the alcohol and drug assessments and sign up before they came to court today. And that's always an incentive the prosecutors and courts look for. Because of that, I'm only going to revoke your license for 6 months. Probably that will run concurrent at the same time as your automatic DOT suspension. So unfortunately, you're a 1.5 or higher, so I do have to order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months and for any vehicles that you drive. And then I'll assess a $50 forfeiture or surcharge of that. I'll find the $861 forfeiture to be appropriate. I'll order that you attend an alcohol and drug assessment class. The DOT will take 6 points from your driver's license, so I've covered ID 50. Covered all the penalties for that. I'll find that I'll assess the penalties on the OWI, not on the PAC. And then how much time do you need to pay?
I can do 30 days if that's what.
Okay, we'll do 30 days. If you find that it's too much, just request an extension, and I'll run it by. I'll have a hearing on it, but I'll basically I'll make that motion and ask the prosecutor if they have any objections. They won't, so the 30 days will be given to pay. All right. We'll give you the paperwork for the occupational license and for the. I've already given you the assessment and the judge disposition. So, all right. Normally I ask at this point, what did you learn? But it sounds like you've already given me a healthy explanation for that. And because of that, you tend to alcohol and drug assessment or the AA meetings. I think that's important. That's why I reduce your revocation period to the minimum. But my comments are as follows. I admire you for courage, and you seem to. Your reference said a strong moral compass, and I'm seeing that tonight. One thing I noticed is that your field sobriety test, you performed well, which tells me that you have either a high tolerance or the fact that you told me an addict. From what I learned in my judge school and the alcohol is that if you're an alcoholic and you've basically have relapsed, if you were sober and then relapsed, it's as if you never stopped drinking. So what happened was you might have, and some judges aren't aware of this. I found that out the hard way. But basically, that if you were an alcoholic 5 years ago and then relapsed, it would be as if you continued to drink all that time. And I think that might be why your blood alcohol content was 1 high. Because you said you only had a beer. Normally, I view that with heavily skepticism, but it might have been true in this case that you're an addict, you haven't been drinking, and some people just can't drink alcohol. And it sounds like you're one of them, and you realize that you're one of them. So it seems that if you're going to Alcoholics Anonymous, that you probably should never touch alcohol again. Yeah, otherwise, it will lead to more problems like this. So, always a word of warning. This is a first offense. If you get another one within the next 10 years, there'll be a second. You'll be facing mandatory jail time, and the penalties will be significantly higher than they are tonight. But I think you've taken a positive first step, and I wish you good luck, unless you have anything else to add.
I don't believe so. The only question I have is if I have any questions in regards to this, do I just contact the DMV?
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And I'll note for the record, being that Alcoholics Anonymous would be part of your occupation, and you should just indicate that on the form you complete when you complete an occupational license.
Okay, and then anything further, just contact the DMV?
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Thank you for coming in.
Have a good night.
Cassidy Asherle?
Yeah.
Did I say it correctly?
Close, it'll work.
How should I pronounce it?
Asherle?
Asherle, okay. Let me pull up the report. All right, do I have your correct address on Midville Drive in Janesville?
Yeah.
All right, you've been cited for speeding on a city highway 16 to 19 miles an hour limit. That citation carries a penalty of $124 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. For speeding on a city highway, do you understand the elements, what the city would have to prove?
Yeah.
She's nodding, so I was.
Yes.
So, forfeiture range is $30 to $300. You're at $50 plus costs, $124. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. There's three, you understand that as well?
Yes.
There's three tiers of speeding. There's speeding 1 to 10, which is simple speeding. There's speeding 11 to 19, which is 4, which is where you're at, and there's speeding 20 plus. What I normally do in my court is I give people a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So instead of speeding 11 to 19 over, I would reduce this to 1 to 9. It's an agreement that the prosecutor would make the same agreement at a pretrial conference, so I've been given permission, or agreed upon, so to speak, that I could offer 1 to 10 over. Do you understand my plea, or my speed reduction?
Yes.
All right. Do you have a commercial driver's license?
No.
All right. 1 to 10 over, same speed, and I keep the forfeiture the same. I keep the forfeiture the same. You understand that as well?
Yep.
All right. Any questions for me?
No.
Now's the time I take your plea: guilty, no contest, or not guilty to speeding 1 to 10 over.
No contest?
You understand? No contest plea. I must find you guilty.
Yep.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. By the way, speeding 1 to 10 over reduces the points from 4 to 3.
Yep.
You save a point then. Okay, let me read the police report. Much simpler than a OWI case. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. Accept your no contest plea and find you guilty to speeding 1 to 10 over. How much time do you need to pay?
30 days.
Okay, I'll give you the 30 days in the disposition. Anything else you'd like to tell me?
It's been like 2017, I think, since my last
Okay,
ticket.
okay.
Was just hoping if I could get it down a little bit.
The 1 to 10 is the best I can
Okay.
issue then for that, so.
Okay.
So it's not insignificant, but I've had people come in here that haven't had a speeding ticket in 50 years, so. it's
Yeah.
just like,
Understandable.
treat people the same. Okay, once you receive the disposition, I will take care of it for this evening then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia Lehman? Ms. Lehman, do I have your correct address on Morris Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for inattentive driving. This citation carries a penalty of $111.40 and 4 points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what inattentive driving is?
Yes.
Okay. Do you need me to review the elements with you?
No.
Okay. Now, this is $111.40. That's $40 plus costs is what you're facing. That's the citation. It's 4 points, and the forfeiture range on this, it's statute 34689. It's $20 to $400. So you're if you were at $40 plus cost, you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. Do you have a probationary license? Are you under 19, and is this your first
Yes.
driver's license? Yes. I can see your birthday, so I kind of assumed that you were. So, is this your first citation?
Yes.
Okay. While you have a probationary license, which is for you is basically between 16 and 19, your point totals double on a moving violation on a second or subsequent citation. So if this one's 4, the next one will, if you get another 4-point ticket in the next year, that will double to 8 and you lose your license. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions for me?
No.
Okay, now is the time, and as far as inattentive driving, if you're looking for a point reduction, or I can reduce the forfeiture a little bit, but I can't reduce the points. If you want to reduce the points, then what I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutors for a pretrial conference and see if they will reduce the points. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Any other, did my inquiry trigger any further questions from you?
No.
All right. Now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I plead not guilty, Your
Okay.
Honor.
With a not guilty plea, we'll schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. We'll give you that notice in just a minute. I'm just going to make a notation on your citation that this is a not guilty plea. At the pretrial conference, it's a chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever, be prepared with that, whatever documents or witnesses might help. You'll have a phone call, and we'll give you the time and date of that phone call. Make sure that you call the prosecutor at that time, because if you don't, prosecutor, tell me that you didn't call. I'll find you, the prosecutor tell me that you didn't show up, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty and impose those penalties. So make sure that you call at the date and time. Okay? Anything else?
With that, there was
Hang on, I don't want to hear anything about the citation, so you're going to discuss that with the prosecutor only then. Again, if you tell me about the facts of the case, what happens then is I have to move this to another court.
I was just gonna ask, there was a witness. I don't know if the information for the witness is on the police report or not.
You can always ask for a police report then.
Okay.
So, okay, I've given you the disposition, I've entered a not guilty plea. With that takes care of it for this evening.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to take a 60-second recess. I've been talking too much and I need a drink of water. I'll be right back. Okay, the court will return to session. Call the next case. Kimberly McFarlane. Ms. McFarlane, do I have a correct address on 6 West Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
You've been cited for operating motor vehicle without insurance. The citation carries a penalty of $124 and 0 points. Do you understand the elements for operating motor vehicle without insurance?
Yes.
Okay. Now, forfeiture range on this is, I believe, between $0 and $200. However, I noticed that you walked up here with a couple piece of paper in your hand. Did you update your registration?
I have my.
I am sorry. Did you update
insurance.
your insurance? Sorry, I got my
Oh,
citations mixed up.
I always had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I explain?
Yeah,
or-
go ahead. Well, hang on.
Okay.
So let me just ask a few questions, and I hopefully you won't need to explain then. Okay, so you got the citation on August 19th. Did you register this? You had the insurance all the time, so on August 19th, you already had insurance on the car? Okay.
Mhm.
Based upon what you showed me in this, court will dismiss the citation.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll give you a record just in case the citation's been dismissed. Is that you were going to tell me that was on your person or you couldn't find it or something like that? Or
Yeah, I couldn't pull it up on my phone. My password was not working. So.
Okay. I figured it was something like that, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Antonio Jones. Mr. Jones, do I have your correct address on Thompson Drive in Madison?
Yes.
Okay. You received a citation for possession of THC. This citation carries a penalty of $439. Do you understand what possession of THC is? It's marijuana.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that,
Delta 9.
yeah.
Okay. I always want to make sure I explain that. So, the forfeiture range of this is $439. That is $300 plus cost. The forfeiture range on this is $50 to $1,000. What I do for these marijuana cases is that if you give me proof that you attended an alcohol drug assessment class or proof, and you can do it on the computer. Do you have access to a computer?
No, my mom does.
What's that?
My mom does.
Okay. If you can, how long do I usually give? 90. I give you 90 days to complete a class or complete a program. Basically, I've got a list of things that you can attend, and even on there's basically an online program that you can follow. If you complete that, what I do is that if you enter no contest plea, what I do is if you complete that, I reduce it down to $124 a minimum. In other words, I want to make sure that you are aware of what THC is and how it can affect you and everybody else. So that's my policies for that. So any questions regarding the THC citation? Okay. You're shaking your head no, so
No.
you say no. And then any questions regarding my policy if you attend any type of alcohol and drug assessment class or program that I will reduce it to the minimum of $124?
I can make it, but would it affect my job? Me working?
It shouldn't.
Going to class? Okay.
I mean, well, who do you, I mean, because if you're an FBI agent, it might. But this is a citation, so this is a civil penalty. It's a penalty. I can't, unless you don't pay, well, if you don't pay, technically I could send you to jail, but I just usually send your account to collections. I never asked for jail time for anybody for fines. So as far as fines, it would just be a fine. I don't know your company's policies regarding THC, but I don't well, I don't know if it's relevant or anything, but that most employers would not have any qualms about a citation, but I can't say for certain because I don't know who you work for. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Any other questions for me?
No.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Do you want me to explain those again?
No.
Okay. All right.
I say guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty? In other words, I'm going to read the police report, and I'm going to, if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty, essentially. You understand that? All right. Let me take a look at the police report and make sure that there was enough evidence that you should be cited. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Anything like to say before I decide on a sentence? Okay, here's what I'll do. So I'll give you 90 days. I'll give you a list of classes to complete, and if your mom has access to a computer, there's one on there that allows you to complete an online program. If you complete that within 90 days, just send me proof that you completed it, and there's an address on there, and I'll reduce the forfeiture from $439 to the minimum $124.
Okay.
And then I'll give you, 30 days to pay that. But make sure that you do it. And if you have trouble finding access to a computer or you have trouble completing it, let us know, and you can come back and we can talk about how we can resolve the citation then.
Okay.
So just keep in contact with us if you have trouble completing it. If you do complete it, you'll get a certificate. Send that certificate, either print it or email it to us, and we'll take a look at that as well. Okay, any questions for me? All right, that takes care of it for this evening. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Let's see, who is next? What's that?
Last page, Watson.
Thank you. Shanika Watson? Yeah, they have. Your children have been remarkably well behaved.
Oh, we got a nice long talk. And I gave them snacks before.
Hi, everybody. All right.
Sit down. Here, hold this.
Let me just pull up your report. Oh, wait. Okay. Ms. Watson, do I have your correct address in Kenilworth Court in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right, you've been cited for non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 0 points issued to your driver's license. Do you understand what non-registration of auto is?
I do.
Okay. Basically just means you didn't register your car. The forfeiture range on this is, I think it's $0 to $200. You're at $30 plus cost. You're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand the forfeiture range as well?
Yes.
Have you registered the car?
No.
Okay. Do you intend to?
Yes.
All right.
I actually tried to do it every day this week. I went to the Pick and Save to get the registration and buy the sticker, but
Okay.
there's only one person that works there that can do it, and she has not been there every day.
You could do it downstairs at dispatch, too.
Okay, I'll do that right as soon as I leave then.
How long,
Continue it
how
for-
long is it going to take you to do that, do you think?
Or we could just continue to.
Why don't we-
to send-
Yeah, how about this? We're going to continue this for 30 days. We'll send you a notice to you in the mail.
Okay.
If you get your updated registration and send that to us, or just drop that off at the dispatch window, I'll dismiss the citation. then.
Okay.
So, yeah, just make sure, all we want
So
you.
can I do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that now.
Yeah, so go ahead and just register it, and we just want people to register their vehicles then. So I'll continue this to the next court date in October. If you register it, I'll go ahead and dismiss it then,
Okay,
so.
so will I have to come to that court date?
No,
Okay.
not if you send that proof of registration in. So
Okay.
that's all we're looking to do, is make sure cars are registered.
Tells dispatch
Oh, wait,
to
I'm
leave
sorry,
a
I
copy
lost-
For me. Oh, oh, no. They can send a copy to me, so she doesn't even have to mail it, because I have a mailbox downstairs.
So if you get
Try to put the key in the door.
jailbreak, if you get the registration at dispatch, just have a copy sent to my clerk, Mary.
I have a mailbox down there.
Okay, I'll tell them to put it in there. Sounds great, thank you.
All right, that takes care of it for this evening. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
All right, come on, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Good evening.
Shannon McCormick? Ms. McCormick, do I have your correct address on Nantucket Court in Wanakee?
Yeah.
All right, you've been cited for speeding on a city highway, 11 to 15 over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80, and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you know what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes.
Do you understand that you've been cited for 11 to 15 over the speed limit?
Yes.
All right. Now, that covers a penalty of $98.80. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. You're actually at the minimum forfeiture of $30 plus cost. You understand that as well? Okay. In addition, there are 3 levels of speeding. 1 to 10 over is 3 points. 11 to 19 is 4. And then 20 plus is 6. My policy is I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway for various reasons. The prosecutor made the same offer if the enter not guilty plea. So instead of 11 to 14 over, I would reduce this to 10 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for me?
No.
All right. Oh, I will add, this came up earlier tonight, I can't amend it any further than the 1 to 10 over, 3 points. Somebody asked for a further reduction. If you want a further reduction, you could enter a not guilty plea. I should explain that as well. All right. Did that trigger any questions?
Not really.
All right. Now, okay, so now's the time I take your plea. Guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest?
You understand, with no contest plea, I'll find you guilty?
Yes.
Let me read the police report and make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I've read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea, and find you guilty of 1 to 10 over the limit for forfeiture of $98.80. How much time do you need to pay?
30 days is
I'll grant you 30 days. Anything else you want to tell me?
Sorry, I'm such an emotional person. I really thought that the speed limit was 35 there. I'm obviously not from Stoughton.
Okay.
My sister was getting married the next day in Stoughton, which was the only reason I was here.
Okay.
And I had seen the 35 earlier that day. Apparently, I just thought it was earlier than it actually was.
Okay. For these, that's why I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway for circumstances like this. As far as speeding goes, we all make mistakes. Doesn't mean you're a bad person or even a bad driver. Just mistakes happen, and we just have a forfeiture set up just to make sure that people obey. So, okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Nothing to really worry about. So. So you can ask the police officers, the 14-mile-an-hour speed limit is about the easiest thing that they see. So.
Okay.
All right, that will take care of it this evening then. Thank you. Okay, should we default the rest? Okay. Thank you. It's actually kind of, everybody was kind of festive tonight, so. We should remember to state that.
Really, still.
Tori Allison is the default judgments. Lontrell Anderson is a default judgment on both citations. Robert Anderson is a default judgment on both citations. Kevin Bambro is a default judgment. Carrie Beckwith is a bond forfeiture. Joel Bretland is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Regina Broyles is a default judgment. Michael Buell is a bond forfeiture. Gregory Berman is a bond forfeiture. Brianna Bushy is a default judgment. Carrie Me Michelle Cardoza is a default judgment on both citations. Rex Christian is a bond forfeiture. Latrell Lamonte Dancy Green is a bond forfeiture. Austria Davis is a default judgment. Tristan Deason is a bond forfeiture. Rachel Dermo is a bond forfeiture. Glover Derrick is a bond forfeiture. Adalberto Jesus Diaz Ariza is a bond forfeiture on all 3 citations. Nathan Dill is a bond forfeiture. Thomas I'm going to get this. Dyrizib. No, what is that? Dyrizib? Thomas Dyrizib. Sorry, I butchered that name. It's a default judgment.
I have a question for this next one.
Yeah.
She has 2 citations.
Mhm.
She has a voicemail right now of wanting to reschedule.
Sure.
And but it's been going on since May. She's rescheduled. Should we just say
One more time.
and that's it?
One more time. So if you could send her a letter, just saying next court date is October 19th. If she doesn't appear, she'll be default.
Okay. Continue that.
Sure. But if you could just send a letter, just
Yeah.
indicating that's enough. I'm tolerant, but up to a point.
Yeah.
Jose Estrella Bonilla is a bond forfeiture. Emma Lauren Evans is a bond forfeiture. Dylan Joseph Foster is a bond forfeiture. Catherine Santa Frisch is a bond forfeiture. Sawyer Frisch is a bond forfeiture. Patrick Gideon is a default judgment. Michael Goldade is a bond forfeiture. Andrew Gross is a default judgment. Bo Geeths is a bond forfeiture. Rachel Geeths is a bond forfeiture. Graham Harrison is a bond forfeiture. Rowan Hume? Yeah, Hume, I'll go with Hume. Default judgment. Refik Ibrahimi is a bond forfeiture. Heather James is a default judgment. Joseph Johnson is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Tyler Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Wesley Lloyd Edward Jordan Buskager is a default judgment, both citations. Sandy King is a bond forfeiture. Wilfredo Leo Gonzalez is a bond forfeiture. Anirio Samuel Marquina Abro is a default judgment. Carrie Mazzarisi is a bond forfeiture. Toby McCoy is a bond forfeiture. Bat Men is a default judgment. Let's see. Batsovan Champa Men is the way you pronounce that, I hope. Hector Luis Mercado Rivera is a bond forfeiture. Riley Monty is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Joshua Montgomery is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Troy Moore is a default judgment. Ronald Nicholson is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Ethan Niswanger is a default judgment. Jacob Olson is a default judgment. Rory Padfield is a bond forfeiture. Jan Carlos Padin Gonzalez is a bond forfeiture. Sequoia Austin Payton is a default judgment. Suzette Peterson is a bond forfeiture. Ulysses Rivera Santa Maria is a default judgment on both citations. Randolph Scott Seibert II is a default judgment on both citations. Chad Seidlitz is a default judgment. Jonathan Shank is a default judgment. Maverick Slavin is a bond forfeiture. Julie Stenjum is a bond forfeiture. Haley Stensas is a default judgment on both citations. David Strassman is a bond forfeiture. Shauna Sturdivant is a default judgment. Reed Tice is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Robert Tots is a default judgment. Alexandria Walker is a default judgment on both citations. Shanika Watson, we continued. And then Jeremiah Youngin is a default judgment.
I have a few things.
Here, I got some things for you too. So.
This is for court, though.
Yeah,
This- Okay. This.
Can I get this one to you too? You shred them, don't you?
I do. This person, the city attorney wanted them to have a live at 25 in 2 months, and that was back
Did
in
they?
July. She's asking for
Sure.
her son for an extension. How much do you?
60 days.
60. Okay. And then this is a request to reopen.
Oh, sure.
And this is another request to reopen the letter from the Dane County Jail. He couldn't make it because he was in jail, so it's pretty lengthy.
Oh, all right.
Basically,
To whom may it returns? So one time I was talking to a judge, and he got one of these handwritten letters from jail and said, "Hey."
He just goes on there. I just figured let the city attorney deal with the rest of it,
Yeah.
because he had criminal matters also.
Sure. I'm not gonna read that,
In
just
jail for
granted.
our tickets, and that's what.
He was in jail for our tickets or
No,
others?
he was not.
Oh, okay.
It was other tickets, but he's blaming our tickets, so.
I think you're right. Just that's a city prosecutor issue. All right.
Anyway, that's it. for-
Cool. I'll see. I got some.
Okay, I'll be in there.
I have probably the most important document, in my opinion, in city history.
Microphone is, oh, okay.